guys? Welcome to another week of the Game Junction podcast. I'm Brandon.
I'm Tony.
Quiet
boys, Mark.
Here. I don't think you can hear us.
Oh, did you not hear me?
My cat.
No.
Oh,
Probably
I'm Mark.
push to talk on.
Nah, I was typing, so I had my mic
All
muted,
the shit.
So we are winging right now. Our other co-host is not able to make it at the moment, so we're just going to start some discussions and just, talk it up, see what's going on. I know there's been a lot of news this past week since the last podcast. What is one of the things I was thinking of was Hogwarts Legacy, some of the stuff they put out about that. I know that you're excited about that, Tony.
Yeah, Hogwarts Legacy. It's 10 years too late, but I'm still ready to play it. Like it should have came out a long time ago. We've been like hankering for a good Harry Potter game. I think that live action MMO is gonna be great. I can't wait for it. No mini transactions. I mean, they clearly stated there's no mini transactions in the game.
For now.
A little bit of confusion. Yeah, for now, correct.
For now.
A little bit of confusion about what you're going to get with what version you buy. Apparently, there's a big thing between like Sony and Xbox. You're going to get a special mission, and there's actually they announced possible later on exclusive missions to Sony versus Xbox. So there's been a big hubbub about that.
Yeah, you know what that reminds
Sony guys,
me of?
so yay!
That reminds me of like Soul Calibur would do like the Xbox exclusive character and like the PlayStation exclusives. They did that for a while.
Yep.
I remember when it came out.
So the Xbox exclusive was Spawn.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that just because I played it on Xbox more than anything.
I forget who.
I know Link was a character on
GameCube. Yeah,
GameCube. Yeah, okay. Link was on GameCube, and then what the hell did PlayStation have?
There's also
Itachi from
Yoda
Tekken.
and Darth Vader
my
too.
Background guy.
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, that's right. I forgot about
Which one
him.
is that on? Like the newer ones?
Oh shit! No, that's been a few years. That was on 360 and PS3.
Two generations ago.
I didn't play Soul Calibur past that second gen shit.
No, that was still like 4, I think. I don't know. We're on like 7 or 8 or some shit. So
it's up there. It's way up there.
Yeah, I just realized today I had Tekken 7. I've never played it, so
I've got it on the shelf as well over here. I'm just like,
Literally just saw it earlier. I'm like, I haven't even played that. It's nice.
Got so many games I bought and never played. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, that'd be 90% of what I have.
My backlog is ridiculous, and I still play the same old shit over and over again.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
my issue's more with Steam games because they're like, hey, it's a $2 game. I'm like, oh, why not?
Yeah, I was just
that big old backlog.
Oh yeah, it's real easy.
Yeah, I don't have very many Steam games, but I just downloaded a Mafia. The first one is free on there until tomorrow, so I'm like, I'll just add that in there. That's
free.
Pretty cool. Yeah, it's
played
free.
Eventually.
I've never played it.
I think I played Mafia 3. It came out on PlayStation like a couple years ago, I believe, as one of the free games, and I did play it on there. Mafia 3 anyway, and it was decent.
I haven't played any of the Hitman games until this year. Never played any of those.
I liked Hitman, the original Hitman games when they come out. I did play them a good bit, but I haven't played any of the new ones online or anything like that.
Yeah, that was what I played, was a newer one. I don't know anything about them, to be honest with you. But, yeah.
And you just complete missions you go through and you murder people in unique ways. I've never played it, but I've seen people play it. Put it up on YouTube.
Yeah, I got like 2 hours into whatever the new one was for PS5. It was pretty fun, but it was just, I don't know, it didn't seem like it was doing anything different for me, so.
It feels like a split off of like the Splinter Cell games, kind of like stealth type deal.
Yeah, mix of like that, maybe a little bit of Metal Gear.
You might have to give it a shot because I can definitely get into it.
Yeah,
especially if it's better now than it was.
I mean, it's fun. There's just too many games. I just fell off. I fall off everything these days, so it's got to be
so hard to sit down and
sweet.
Get into a game.
It is. Yeah,
if it doesn't draw me in like the first 2 hours, I can't.
Yeah, I know. The only thing I beat by myself was Shredder's Revenge this entire year. Other than that, was like beat 'em ups and stuff, retro stuff. So, I
played through a couple games. I mean, Red Dead, I played through the story mode on that. I did play through the Final Fantasy VII remake, obviously, because fuck, why not?
No, not me.
It wasn't really that long anyway. Hellblade is a really great playthrough. It's short, but it's really fun. I think that's probably the only 3 that I've really played through lately.
I think the last game I actually played through was Cyberpunk. Because since then, a lot of the games I play are kind of like open
I didn't
world or
even finish
multiplayer,
that.
so there's no real end game to them.
Mm-hmm.
I
did
2
finish
hours in
Cyberpunk.
that.
I like the story mode in that one. I thought that was a really nice concept for a story.
Well, speaking of which, they did announce they're doing a TV series on that. I don't know if that was this past week though, but that might be interesting. I don't know enough about it. I played like 2 hours, like I said. So
There's just not a good track record when it comes to adaptations, especially depending on who makes it. I just assume they're bad and don't even bother watching them anymore.
Yeah.
I've been let down one too many times.
I don't know. People say The Witcher was good. I didn't watch The Witcher at all. I didn't really play The Witcher games. You know, everybody says Witcher 3 was like a really great game.
It's not based off the games. They're based off the books. Because the games take place after the books. And it wasn't bad per se. It was one of the better adaptations. But I mean, if you want to get like nitpicky, you can definitely find issues with it.
Right.
I don't know enough about the lore. I've only played 2, so.
And I've only seen the first season, so I don't know where the second season was. It wasn't terrible, but it's not saying it couldn't go downhill, especially with Netflix. Right. So.
I mean, they're hit and miss. They got some really good shit, but then like we started playing some movies the other day on Netflix, and it was just like, like y'all shouldn't have threw money at that. Y'all should have put some more money into something else, made it better.
I think most of what Netflix makes
is really just like good. Try this.
You know it's not good when like a week after the show comes out, they're like, yeah, we're not doing a season 2. That's like, all right, so it tanked really bad.
They are just like no, we're not doing that at all.
They have done a few shows. They get hyped up. It comes out, and then they're like,
canceled already.
Pull the plug. I'm like, they did do well. So I just off of that, I just assume it was bad. Don't even bother watching them.
I don't even give it a chance after that. It's like, no, I'm not even gonna try.
As just like games, there's too many things to watch, man. It's just like too much. You know what I mean?
A game is more of a time investment than like a TV show or movie is.
It can be.
So I'm more nitpicky with what I play because I'm a.
I mean, the way I see it, if I can sit down and put my 2 hours into a game and get into it, then it'd be worth it to finish the game out for me. But if I put that 2 hours into a game and it's just not hitting for me, then so I'd much rather try that 2 hours or hour and a half into an actual game versus sitting down trying to watch a movie these days.
Yeah, it just depends for me. I remember somebody telling me a while ago there was a game that I tried out and I played like 4 or 5 hours into it. And they said, "Oh, you don't really finish the prologue until you get about 40 hours in." I'm like, I don't have time.
That's not prologue. That's a full game right there. That sounds like an
JRPG. Yeah, it was some JRPG. I think it was
you have to spend like 200 hours to get through the whole story and like the 5 different endings.
Yeah,
so you have to play
at least
5-7 times.
Oh yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's a whole fucking game for me, dude. Like I'm playing the games I can beat in 4 hours, man. Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, I put 100 hours into Red Dead Redemption 2. Just
I did too, easy on that.
General story mode of that game is amazing. But
I put like an hour.
There's a whole lot you can do just exploring around.
I never got past the prologue of that game. I played like twice, and then I just never.
I love that game, bro.
I think I picked up other games at the time. Good. Other games were more relevant, and I just never got around to picking it back up.
That's one of the few games.
That's probably one of the best looking games I've played in a long time.
It is, yeah. Yeah, that was one of the few like Xbox launch games that I got. Like
I bought it.
The last new
I've got a physical copy when it came out. I just stopped playing it, and then for whatever reason, never picked it back up.
It's not for everybody.
The online.
It wasn't a bad game. I just you play it once, and then a few days go by, and then you just never play it again. I've got a few games like that where I've played them once. It's not bad, and then other games I start playing.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you forget about it.
Did anybody pick up the TMNT Cowabunga collection? Or plan on picking that up?
Probably not.
I would like to get it. I've got some other major purchases in my near future I'm trying to make. So hopefully I can knock that out and then purchase some other stuff I really want to get.
I don't know if there's a game coming out recently that I probably care to play. I mean, if it gets good reviews, the next major game that's coming out will probably be that Harry Potter Hogwarts game that I'll probably play.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to that.
There's nothing announced that I'm planning on picking up or that I'm like, this is a game I definitely
come on,
play.
Forspoken, man. You haven't looked into Forspoken yet. It looks great.
I can promise you 100% I will not buy that game at launch. I'll wait for it. Forspoken.
I don't buy any game at launch just because.
Not anymore. I
Nah,
don't
these
either.
days.
Gotta be safe. It's a
Can't.
good game. I'm gonna spend $60 on it.
They're $70 now, so I definitely am not
Yeah,
doing that.
yeah, exactly.
Nah, not if you wait long enough.
Exactly.
It'll be $40.
I'll
But
wait until
Unless
it's
it's,
Forspoken's
20.
already
Dude.
unless
been
it's a
delayed
Nintendo
again.
game, then
Yeah,
they'll
that's it.
re-release it at $60 and it'll never go down.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I make that exception for, because I know damn well that they're not
Mhm.
going down in price.
Well, they did that with what Fallout 76. It released, and then literally like 2 weeks later, it was already half price. Like, and
Yeah,
people were pissed because you couldn't get a refund on it. And it's like,
Right.
wait a minute, I literally just bought that 2 weeks ago for full price, and now you're offering it for half price.
A $70 game in like early
Dude.
alpha.
Dude, they did the same thing
Yep.
with Cyberpunk, though, bro. I remember my Walmart having it for like $40 like 2 weeks after it came out.
Mhm.
Like, the launch of that was
Yep.
so bad, dude. That, yeah.
But I was able
That
to
was-
get through that game. There's a difference.
I only had a few issues with it on the PS5. It just
I mean,
restarted on me a couple of times, but
I think the main issue was some of the graphical issues, a lot of the popping, but the gameplay wasn't
yeah, that was
terrible.
rough.
Driving was pretty rough to begin with. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes
I
you
think
get
it's
going down the
still-
road and your
I
car
think
would
it's
just
still
literally
driving.
go through the map.
It's still
Yeah,
rough now. If
Day
you ask
one
me.
driving.
I don't think it got any better. I hate the driving. If the only vehicle you can handle in that game well is a motorcycle. Everything else is just not worth your
Right.
time.
That's
I
true.
did notice
You're
that.
right. Yeah, I did
that
too.
is
Got
always
these
been
nice
on the
sports
motorcycle and
cars.
stayed on those.
You just immediately spin
Nope.
out. Plus, your motorcycle, you can cut through a lot of traffic and stuff. So I just.
Did you ever find like the best car in the game, the one you had to go through that weird little like hidden tunnel, and about halfway through the tunnel had like one of those cars in there that you
Oh
just
yeah,
get
like
into,
the
and then
first time I went through
yours?
that tunnel for one of the main missions, I stumbled into
You
it.
get
by
like the best car in the game in
It's
like the
undrivable.
first hour of the game,
Yeah.
like, and it was crazy because the thing would just go all over the road. It was literally undrivable.
Oh, it's still undrivable because I played that game with the past like 6 months, and I was like, everything still handles the same.
Oh man, I haven't played that in ages, dude. I
mean,
should probably
it's
pop
not
that
bad.
in and update it.
I just thought the story was too short, far too short of a game, if
Yeah.
you ask me.
Well, they were heavily
They definitely
focused
could have
on the
like stretched that out a
multiplayer
lot more.
that they canceled. Like, they were all about that multiplayer
Yeah.
that was going to come
They
out.
had to cancel it. The game was not ready when it came out.
No, it wasn't. They
They should never bother to put time into multiplayer for a game like that, anyways.
They shouldn't have.
No, that's
but
a single player game all day long.
Yeah.
they wasn't even testing anybody playing it on an original Xbox One or, launch PS4. They didn't care about none of them people. Those people couldn't even play the game, dude.
Oh no, that game
So
was
bad.
definitely made PC first, console second.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
I just
So
And
bad.
new gen console first.
Are any of you guys Silent Hill fans?
I'm not into the horror genre, not myself.
Well, apparently there's some screenshots that have been leaked for Silent Hill 2 remake, which is my favorite in the series. It's been a long time since I played that, but that'd be kind of cool to see happen. I mean,
So-
remakes are everywhere, but
I'm on the fence. I would play a Silent Hill remake just because I like the concept of the Silent Hill games back then.
Mhm.
I didn't play them. I watched other people play them a little bit. The concept of it to me was always cool. That psychological, like walking through, and
Yeah,
it's not really like
me
you're trying
too.
to fight everything. You're just trying to get through everything.
yeah,
And that was always kind of cool to me. But I would like to see a remake of it because I believe I couldn't get into it now just because the graphics back then were just ridiculously bad. They don't hold up as well, I guess is the best way to put it. They weren't bad back then, they just don't hold up. So if they could remake that one, I might give that a shot and actually try to get through it.
it is weird that they're just completely skipping over one, which one is the graphics on one. Those are a tough one with it being PS1. They don't hold,
They
don't
have to put
hold
more
up.
money into it.
They don't.
Oh yeah,
they
they
just
put a
don't hold
lot
up.
more into it.
It'd be cool though. I mean,
I just hope they don't pull that Grand Theft Auto remake bullshit on it and just kind of
God, yeah,
That'd be
just
terrible.
toss it out there. It's so bad.
they just didn't even care about that. I played that the day it went up, San Andreas anyway, on Game Pass, and they just didn't care, man. So many issues with that. I'm like, it's still sold, so
It's like, we're not putting any money into it, so even if it's a bad game, they're like, we'll still make money off of it.
it's Rockstar. They know they're going to make money, so
They're making
That's how
money
it
off.
Doesn't matter what they do.
They could not release another game and just milk online for like 10 years.
The numbers that they make with GTA Online is absolutely crazy.
And the crazy thing is like I don't know how long I've seen that meme of the cow that's dried up with the GTA 5 logo on it, and then the dude sitting up under it's like Rockstar milking that bitch, and like that meme has been going on for like 10 years, and it's still relevant, like still milking it.
I mean, people keep playing it. So why make a new game?
All right, so here's a good segue. Speaking of stretching and milking a game, so apparently Destiny has actually came out, or Bungie has came out and said they actually have 20 more years of content planned for Destiny.
Oh, Jesus.
So
That
if you're into Destiny, get ready for the long haul.
I just don't like what they're doing with it now. It's whether like you can't even play like the main story. They're gating off planets. They're timed for certain content's timed. I don't like that concept. So if you want to play through the whole Destiny
you're not
story,
actually playing on there.
I haven't played in a while. It's pretty much certain planets you can't go to, so you can't play like the whole main story. Or if you can, it's not the same way. I don't like that concept. But I haven't played Destiny in over a year at this point. But it's a game where it's a game where if you've been playing it, there's good content for it. It's just if you've never played Destiny, it's really hard to get into with what they're doing with it right now. I think they're content with it right now. They're just going to continue with their player base. I think they need to what I would prefer is like a new, just revamp with new consoles or whatever, re-release a new Destiny game, but have all the content from the first 2 games where you can play everything.
You can actually play the story and understand it, and then get into the rest of it.
I mean, that'd be nice.
That's kind of what I would need.
It's not the way the game's set up right now. It's not friendly to new players unless you don't care. If you care about the story, if you don't care about the story, you just hop and just play the game. Gameplay is fine. It's just whether or not you care to know what's going on, or you're just gonna watch a YouTube video and be like, "All right, I'm good."
Oh man, I know so little about Destiny. But I can't even.
I mean, you had the issue with the first game where a lot of the lore you couldn't even experience in game. You'd like unlock a little card or something. You'd have to go to the website and like read all the like a lot of the backstory of the lore for it.
Well, you better have a phone on you.
Yeah, that is kind of a bummer if they don't give you the backstory as you're playing.
I think the way they did that, like that site that they used to use, isn't even around anymore. So you have to just like Google a lot of the lore for the first game.
Well, they need to do it Metroid style, bro. You just scan everything, get all your story there.
There's too much lore in that game. It's a really big game.
Yeah, I just saw that apparently Quidditch won't be in Hogwarts Legacy, but you'll be able to fly around on a broomstick. It says no Quidditch.
Yeah, I did see that. It's going to be like your fast travel, I guess, is on the broom, kind of get around areas quicker.
It'll be a DLC.
Probably.
Oh, they're definitely going to add Quidditch in later. It's definitely something I'm sure they're working on. You can't have Harry Potter without Quidditch.
That's like a whole mini game off to the side that you could spend like 10 hours in.
Spend a whole like full-fledged Quidditch games, dude. So they could definitely do something with that.
I'm gonna be honest, that's something I miss a lot in newer games. Is like those little side mini games like that you can go in and just really sink a lot of time into. Early Final Fantasy. Yeah. I say early Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy 8 and 9. They had the card games and all those other little mini games that you could play that were it was fun as shit. And I can't remember which one it was. I want to say 10 that had the Blitz ball. That me and a buddy of mine spent hours playing Blitz ball.
That was 10. Yeah, that was fun, 10, dude. Okay. I miss that.
I'm trying to think. It's more of an obscure game. If you ever played Jet Force Gemini, there's like a little part of the main game where you go to like an arcade type thing, and you can literally play like arcade like racing game, like top down, like you're actually at an arcade. As well as in the same game, there's another area in the game where it's the same type of like racing thing, but like it's more like first person. It's really interesting what they used to do, and you could put a lot of time into that. Just play it over and over again.
You can play NES games on Animal Crossing. That was
there is that too.
It totally had an emulator in the game. Like, how awesome is that?
That was sick.
I like it when you play games, you can just play a whole other game that came out like 10 years ago.
So, all right, let's continue with that subject then. So, it's got to be like a full-fledged game where you can like walk into an arcade and play something else, which is
cool. You trying to tell me that Namco Museum isn't a full-fledged game? It's got a story and everything, dog.
I mean, I'll give it a little bit of a game. I'll say it's like 80% of a game.
I get what you're saying, though. Yeah.
So Donkey Kong 64, it has the same thing. A lot of the Activision games I've noticed. You can go in and play a lot of their old games in one of their games.
Oh,
actually, Splatterhouse, New Yakuza.
You could play Splatterhouse 1
Splatterhouse.
and 3 on that remake that came out. I remember that.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, that was really cool. There's a lot
What's
of
that
games
new
that do that.
Yakuza?
Oh,
Is
Like
it
a Dragon?
The something Dragon? Yeah, so I just
Yeah,
started
it's
playing that
interesting.
recently because it came out free last month, and
Mm-hmm.
I went into some of the arcades on there, and it's really cool because you can play some of their early games like Space Harrier.
Yep. Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh shit! What was it? There was a couple other ones I noticed in there I hadn't played yet, but it was like that's just neat being able to walk into
That's
the
a whole other
arcade and
series
put
I
some
want
money
to
into
get
the
into.
machine.
The whole the Yakuza games is another there's like 10 games in that series or close to it at this
This
point.
is the first one I played, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a lot of chit chat and run over here and then do a little half-ass battle.
It's a
I'm
weird
trying
one
to
to
like
start
really
as your
get
first,
That's like all those games. It's definitely
just
story
trying to get
driven.
into it more. Like I want to put at least like 3 or 4 hours into it and really get into the base of it because I do like the RPG aspect with your character leveling up and getting
It's
different abilities.
It's a
and
weird
stuff.
one to start with, being that it's like a
It's so
turn-based
boring.
RPG.
But I think Like a Dragon's it's like isn't it like a prequel to like most of the games as far as like the timeline goes, if I remember that right.
Got me on that one.
I haven't played the games.
Know. That's
sure.
That's the first one I played as well, and then I
I'm
went back
pretty
and played,
sure it doesn't follow the
Zero.
series chronologically.
0 and 02, I'm pretty sure they're like the prequel ones, which were the last 2 that came out.
I thought 0 was a remake of the first game, though.
Dude, I don't know nothing about it. This is the first one I played.
Yeah, like I said, this is the first one I played at all, and I'm just like, I want it to be so much more than it is right now, and I think it's going to get better. I really see like
there's a lot. There's a bunch
that
of
kind of Final Fantasy VII remake aspect to it, like you're running around that little town just doing shit like that, but like it's not as deep as it needs to be right now, I guess.
Dude, this is how bad I am with gaming right now.
It's getting boring.
I started the PS4 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Then I got the PS5 version, and I haven't even put it in yet. So I've yet to play any of the PS5 version that has all the additional content.
So good.
I need to play it, dude. I really do. That one's bothering me that I haven't played it yet.
It is a damn good looking one. I can't. I have a hard time playing it because I just want to walk around and look at everything in like awesome 3D HDR, like because I put so much time into that game on original PlayStation, and seeing that shit in its new version is just awesome.
Okay, so I was wrong about that. Apparently, it takes place after Yakuza 6.
Okay, so it's
like
a later on series then.
Yeah, so it follows up. So I guess I might be getting the remakes confused. I know they were some of the older games. They were like either like maybe not remaking, but remastering, change the title.
I did play Kiwami, but I only put an hour into it, so I don't count it.
Because the first one came out in 2005, so you're thinking like PS2 era.
Yeah,
it's just so weird. I don't know if it's just like a translation thing or what, but like watching all those Asian dudes talk with like the craziest Southern accents and like the shit that comes out of their mouth, I'm like,
they're a spiritual successor to Shenmue, so they essentially went from Shenmue 2, then started Yakuza, and
right.
I could be wrong about this.
I played the shit out of Shenmue 2.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I tried to go back and play that though. Shenmue 2, man, that's some of the worst controls I've ever played in my life, dude. Them controls,
so hard,
bro. And then Shenmue 3, I started it, dude. I didn't like it. I quit.
Everybody complained about it. It's like a game everybody wanted, and they're like, it was such a bad game when it came out. I never played the game.
Biggest disappointment ever, dude. I was so looking forward to that.
I've got it just to have the set, but it's not good.
No, it's not. But them damn controls in Shenmue 1 and 2, dude. I mean, I'm talking about playing on the fucking Series X, dude, and the controls are still shit. The worst controls ever.
They didn't do anything to fix it. They just re-released it and like, here you go, just have fun in all its original glory.
You know what other games like that it's hard to go back to? Fucking GoldenEye on the 64. Dude, that one's hard to play now.
You have to play it on a 64.
Oh, it's so bad.
We actually set that up.
So
we set that up at game night, and I have a hard time playing it on 64 because it's completely backwards. Like you walking around with the little C buttons on the 64, not the joystick.
It's got a
joystick is just your aim.
Yeah,
so it's almost like you really need to get one of the what's the Brawler controller? Who makes that one? Is it? It's not Hori, is it?
It's Retro Fighters.
Is it Hori? Retro Fighters do that. Yeah, they had that Brawl controller, which is really nice. I'm sure that'd be a little bit easier to play it with, kind of make it more like a newer.
Yeah, I remember playing the shit out of that game when it came out. Oh, it was so fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go.
I've had this for 2 years and I haven't even used it yet. If that tells you I'm not a gamer, I don't know what does.
Just buying stuff you'll never use.
Oh, bro.
Like, I'll use it one day.
I buy everything they
All
got,
the time.
dude, and I've never used any of them. Look at this. Look at this. 2 PlayStation ones ain't even been opened yet. I've had them for months.
Nice.
But anyway, yeah, I bet it would be better on that, but I don't know how much that would change the controls, really. It's essentially still a single analog stick, so.
Yeah. Well, it may not either, because I looked at that when you held it up, and it still had the C buttons on the side, and then the other joystick on the one side. So it's not like you're having a dual joystick action or anything.
So that's the first one that they did, and it's essentially made for like fighters. So it's
going back
right
to the GoldenEye. You ever look at the box art and you realize there's that weird art that everybody points out? Yeah, with the wide mouth stuff.
I didn't as a kid.
It came to my mind
later.
Yeah. It's one of those weird things like you never notice until somebody pointed out, and now you just can't not see it. You're like, I hate you.
Oh
now.
yeah, that's what happened to me.
Stuck in your head every time.
Oh yeah.
Somebody posted about there used to be like these segments in gaming magazines, and it was like in a Nintendo Power. Somebody sent in and like was asking a question why the box art was like that, and that was the first time I saw it, dude. And every time I look at that cover now, that's all I see. It's like mouth this long, dude. I'm like, oh, I miss that stuff, dude. Those little articles they'd have in those game magazines. Those were always sweet.
Yeah. Small.
Game Informer is just not the same. It doesn't hit the same as those old Nintendo Powers.
I will tell you this: what does hit the same? They sent this out for me to do some content on, but I don't know if you saw it. But these are really cool. This is my third one that I've read.
Power.
Yeah, and they do for other companies and systems as well, like it's like all retro based stuff. But this like takes me back because. Do you remember when they used to send out stuff like this to magazines? You had actual discs. These are all new games for the Dreamcast, all brand new games. So that's really cool.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, there are people trying to keep that alive. I just don't know how big or small the market is. I mean, everything's on the internet, so now it's just a niche thing, and it's not the same.
Right.
But, I mean, that was fun to actually sit through something and enjoy it. My Game Informers, they go right up on the shelf. I don't even look at them. They're so boring, dude. They're like corporate magazines.
Yeah, Game Informers are bad.
They're so
They're not
bad.
worth it. Don't even bother buying them anymore.
The best thing about those is some of the cover arts. That's the only thing.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't even have like fold out posters. They don't have jack shit in them. It's just like, you pay for your subscription to GameStop and you get the Game Informers. That's about it.
Walmart does a free one every month. I always grab that because those come with like some really sick posters, and they're free. So I just grab a couple for like buddies, and if there's a poster I want, I just grab it. But other than that, I don't think anybody besides those two does any like big publications like that anymore. But
it's not worth it. Most people aren't going to buy it.
It's not. And that's why it's for like a real niche market, targeted people like us.
I mean, just any kind of media in general, any kind of physical media these days is literally just going to the wayside. I mean, I've seen who was it? Brett Weiss had the Blu-ray DVDs of that thing that they made, which look really cool. But it's like, where the fuck am I going to watch that? Who even has like? I mean, I've got an Xbox, but it's in my son's room. But I'm not going to like bring that thing out here to pop it in and watch it online when I can literally just turn my TV on and watch whatever the hell I want.
See, that's
just kind of weird. The physical media aspect is just dying.
I was collecting movies up until 2022, and I had probably, I mean, I don't say I have a lot of games because I really don't now. I had a lot, but I had like 1,500 physical DVDs and Blu-rays. I sold those all in 2020 because they sat in the closet. I didn't even touch them to watch. Never. And I'm like, you know what? I got $800 out of them. I'm like, it is technically a loss, but I'm like, they literally sit there. So I'm like, there's no point.
I mean, in comparison to what you paid for when you bought them, that's a huge loss. I mean,
you
paid at least $5 a DVD, bare minimum. When you bought those, it was $5 a DVD, and now you can't sell DVDs for them, $5 for $2 these days.
No,
like you go to flea markets, you can literally buy tubs of them for like $10. I mean,
yeah.
And we used to go. Me and my buddy used to go raid the DVD bin at Walmart, the $5 bin. We just take 2 buggies, one to throw the shit in we didn't want, and one to throw the shit in that we wanted. Come home with stacks of DVDs and then watch movies all week until we went back on the road. But now it's just like, just turn the TV on and we're, smart TV. Let's get into the apps.
At this point, there's only like 2 physical media I still collect. It's gaming and then anime at this point.
See, I've even like completely reduced down my game collecting because it's like drastically changed since 2020. Like I said, I told you guys before, I was the one that's keeping any game that I didn't have. It went up on the shelf, even if I never touched it. And that's where it came from, but it's not that way anymore for me. And I think
I never
it's just
got
because
that.
well, that's a good thing because you don't want to. It was an issue.
I collect stuff that I want to collect that I'll play. If I'm not gonna watch it, I'm not gonna play it. It's a waste. That's why I stopped doing with the movie stuff because I'm like I don't really care. I don't watch these movies once anyways. So what's the point in keeping them?
I bought one movie recently. It was a 4K Blu-ray that I actually just got, and that was the Sonic movie, so I could watch that. And I was like, I can justify having this.
Probably
But
never
other than
watch
that, yeah, and even that one, I was like, that was like $28 or something for 4K Blu-ray. Ooh, things are
it. I mean,
expensive.
it was an okay movie to go watch it, but to go watch it again, I'm like, wasn't that exciting. I probably never, unless somebody else is watching it or it just happens to be online or something like that, I'll probably never pick it and watch it.
I did want to make sure that I brought this up. This is one of the topics I brought up during the week. But what do you guys think about them taking away the split screen multiplayer in Halo Infinite they were working on?
I don't think it really matters.
Dead.
I think it's been dead for over a decade at this point. I don't know why they were even entertaining putting it in the first place. Nobody does it anymore.
LAN parties. Setting up LAN parties. That's why.
Even if you do LAN parties at this point, you have your console and you have your own TV, so it doesn't really matter to have split screen. Plus, people prefer to have the screen. Split screen's just the internet. It's just dead with the internet.
I think
you can buy really cheap TVs now, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think the thing is just that it's like ingrained in the history of Halo. Like that was the first game I ever played. Like did a LAN setup for with the original Xbox, the actual LAN party. And I think to this day, that's the only time I've ever done that is with the original Xbox. But
I mean, I'm seeing it'll make news. Some people will talk about it, but I think a lot of people that might have complained about it probably weren't going. Most people weren't going to do it in the first place. Very few people.
Either that or they could try it and bitch about it.
Yeah. I just think it doesn't really, whether it's there or not, it's not going to change people's enjoyment of it because most people, the 99.9% of people weren't going to do split screen anyways.
They weren't. I think you're right on that.
Who's really got friends? Who, as adult, really has friends close by that are going to come over and sit down and play fucking split screen in person when you can literally just load up at your house and you be in your comfort zone, I'm in my comfort zone, we can still play together.
It's just easier that way.
Split screen's just not going to be a thing.
Yeah.
It was a thing because it had to be a thing for a while.
Yeah, and it did. Exactly. You're right. It kind of had to be an option.
Plus, you have the issue of what I always hated with split screen is everybody says they don't do it, but everybody does it. Screen peeking. So you always know exactly where you are. So who's just better at gameplay at that point? It was always like, I'm not going to do it. Then I don't do it, and I get killed.
You can't not do it because you see it. It's peripheral vision anyway. You literally.
But it was like a skill. It's like, all right, we both know where each other are. Who's just going to kill each other? Who's just the better skill?
You know,
I mean, that was a skill in its own right. But that's like one of the things I always hated was like the spleen screen looking.
I just did some. I think the last 64 game I played the multiplayer with doing that was Jet Force Gemini. I had to load that up the other day. Tried that out. I'm like, nice. Man, this multiplayer doesn't hold up very well.
I don't think it held up when it came out. It was bare bones multiplayer when it came out. But I mean, it's another one of those games where it's like, oh, these controls are barbaric.
Dude, they're terrible. They're bad. We can't say they're good because they're not.
So many 64 games are that way though, because
I just wish they would get
a lot of them and tried cleaning and fixing them up.
You need to fix it, just remake it, recreate it, do a full-on remaster or remake of the game.
See, I see a lot of people bringing up that as an issue, and this is actually the next thing I wanted to dive into. The remakes and remasters. I see a lot of people talking about how that's all we're getting now. Tons of people are like, why are we getting this? So, the big one to bring up about that with the news topic would be The Last of Us Part 1. We had a remake for a game that just got a remaster on the PS4 that came out on the PS3.
The remaster came out a year after it originally came out, let's be real.
It did. It did. And I don't buy that it's really... I bought both, but I'm not buying this at full price. I refuse to, and it's not because I necessarily have a problem with it. I have issues with them remaking it already. I think it's unnecessary, but I think my thing is that it's literally a frame-by-frame remake. So it is the same game. And there's not enough differences for me to warrant the $70 price tag when I've already bought the game twice.
I guess there's two camps of issues with I think that game specifically. One, you can play the PS4 remaster and it's good enough because I played it like 2 years ago.
Fine.
It just came out. There's a difference between that and like retro games that never really got sequels. The series died on like 64 GameCube or something like that. And then there's the other issue with this game of the people that did not like the second game, and so they're going to retroactively diss on the first game.
Tony, do you have comments pulled up, by the way? I just had two people message me. I know that you were doing the Facebook.
So I've got on my stream pulled up, but I'm not seeing anybody comment on here.
Okay.
It could be on the Game Junction side though.
No, there's
Could
a bunch of shit. It was hidden for me.
Okay. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, Mark, that's a tough one because there's obviously a market for the people. I wanted to get that collector's edition desperately, and it has one of the highest markups I've seen for anything in a long time. Like the markups on it, it's $100 retail, and it's going for $500-$600 right now.
I think a lot of people's issue isn't with the remake itself. It's people didn't like certain things to do with the second game. The development staff was there's issues between a lot of the people that were complaining about that game and how the development staff handled that PR situation. And so retroactively, they're just going to throw hate at the series or that studio as a whole. I think that's where most of the issue is coming from.
That, and people did not like the ending to part 2. And I think
a lot of people didn't write the ending, and I think some people's hate of it was kind of like it's just kind of BS. But there was legit criticism for the writing with that game, and then the developers just blew it off publicly, and it's just it soured a lot of people on them.
Yeah, I think the weird thing was that like people were like confused. Like, does this game add like proning to it or any of the things that 2 like expanded?
It had the weird issue where it's, hey, let's have some random flashback, and then you have the issue like halfway through the game where you replay it from a character who, by the time you get to that point, I don't remember what her name is. You don't like this character to begin with, and now you're forced to play with this character.
Yeah. You know, another game that did this exact thing that people don't say nothing about this, and I think it's because it's not as talked about. Last of Us is huge now, but Shadow of the Colossus came out on PS2, got a remaster on PS3, and then a remake on PS4. So I mean, it did the exact same thing, and nobody says anything about it.
I'm pretty sure they had a PS5 version also, did they not?
That wouldn't surprise me.
It might be on 4 consoles.
I'm almost certain it did like a remake for the PS5 version because I downloaded it and played it on my PS5. Maybe it was a PS4 version, but yeah, that game's been remade from PS2 on.
I don't think it was as popular.
And nothing new added.
The Last of Us, and it didn't have the issue between the fans and development staff like going at each other on social media as well.
Well, yeah, and that's another that was a frame by frame remake. It was literally just a remake, so I mean, they did nothing new with it. There's no added.
To be fair, most people have issues that just aren't going to buy the game, and it's just not going to sell well.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a hard one because I get it in some aspects, but here's the thing, though. Here's where I have a problem. I can understand, say it was just a PS3 game, didn't get a remaster on PS4. Well, the game's not playable in any other way unless you have the PS3. So that would make sense, but PS4 games are playable in the 5. So that's where I'm kind of like, well, you can buy it for $15 at Walmart. I mean, it's a dirt cheap
like
game.
This game just came out like 4 years ago. It doesn't need a
It's a $20. It's a $20 new game with their greatest hits line. You can get the game super cheap, but obviously there are enough people that want it that these special editions are selling out and going absolutely bonkers. Like the highest prices I've seen for any new gaming stuff in a long time.
I'm sure the market's going to tank relatively quickly for it. People are just making money off the hype.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, and I think that we'll drop to like I think
long term
a PS5 markup, maybe a $100 markup, which is still not anything I would pay. I would never do that. I've never paid a markup for anything, and I'm not going to do it now for that.
The problem is, I think a lot of these studios, they don't dig into like what people would prefer, like game series that have been dead for the better part of 20 plus years at this point. If you're going to remake, do something that's like very hard or very expensive to play nowadays, like really old games. I think that's like the one thing when Nintendo doesn't get shit on about it, because they don't make games that just put out like 5 years ago. There are complaints about how they make their older games available, but when they do remake a game, it is a 20-year-old game that they bring forward,
fleshed out.
Yeah, so it's just a game that's
prepared when they do the remake on it. Yeah, I got them pulled up.
Okay. All right, but
we see you, Sean.
But yeah, I mean, it's a weird one for me just because, like, in some aspects, it makes sense. If it's a retro game, it's not playable now. You can't play your NES game on a PS5 or a Switch or anything like that. So I get it, but I
I
think
just think it's
this is
interesting that you
milking
brought
the cow with this
I
one.
think it's different because the Last of Us series as a whole, especially the one that's a multi-layered issue you could really dig into on
Well, and
why
then you
there's
have
a lot of
the digital side of things. You can still buy the PS3 version on the store, dirt cheap, and the remaster version. So it's accessible, but I don't know. I think the reason they did this is solely for the TV show that is getting ready to launch, and I think it's just a marketing thing for that.
If you want another thing, it's just I'm like, just put money into a new game at this point. Like you don't need to re-release this game for marketing. Like it's a well-known game, everybody knows about it. Everybody knows the
That's
TV
kind
show.
of why I'm excited for the Forspoken. I know, Brandon, you said you didn't want to buy that one at all, but I'm actually excited for it because it is kind of
at
like
launch,
a new IP.
I want it, but not at
Yeah,
launch.
right, true at launch. True at launch. At launch, it's going to be. I think they're going to have to do a lot of updates for it. Well, maybe not
Yeah.
because they're actually pushing it off again. It was supposed to come out like at the end of this year, I believe, but now they're pushing it off to like early 2023. So I don't mind when Square Enix does that because usually if they push the game off, it's for a damn good reason. They don't want to push it out like Cyberpunk kind of shit and then have to fix it later. You know, they'd rather put a little bit more time into it, which is could turn out to be better. But I mean, to me, it looks like it's going to be a really good game. That's one of the complaints about everybody. They said that Square Enix has just had piss poor marketing with it, and every little bit they've showed is just like chunks of BS, and it's not really like it doesn't get people hyped about it.
I still don't understand the game, so I mean, if I don't understand it, then
right.
other
So
people
it's like
don't understand it.
They take the chick out of the urban area and then throw her into fantasy world, and then she gets a bracelet that gives her magical powers. That's kind of what I've got from it so far, but it looks really good.
Yeah.
Right.
I just don't know anything about it, so I can't have like this super big hype. I love Square Enix, but they also put out a lot of crap too. I mean, they do. They put out a lot of games.
To me, it just looked different. Like that's kind of what I was interested in. It's not a remake. It's not a remaster. It's just a new kind of IP, something that they could try to work with and go somewhere with.
Yeah,
hoping they can.
Well, that would be cool. I mean, because they've been riding on the tails of Final Fantasy for many years.
Sean in the chat said he's cool in remasters, but he prefers sequels rather than remakes.
Yeah, I mean, getting an entirely new game versus a remake.
I guess it just depends on like how accessible the older game is.
Yeah.
He also said Square is definitely greater than Square Enix.
Square Soft were the good days.
Yeah, exactly. Square Soft back in the day.
But I think they put out a lot of games because it's not like that's just like the main company. They've got like dozens of like game studios under them.
They do.
So that's why they pump out so much crap.
Some of my favorite, like I guess they're not really recent at this point because the first one's like over 10 years old, but the new Tomb Raider series, I love those games, man. Those are Square Enix games. You would never know if you didn't look at the cover. Like, this is a Square Enix game. It's an action adventure game. I love that series.
Yeah, they weren't bad. Try that again because I haven't played any of the newer Tomb Raiders. I say newer, even though it's 10 years old. But I haven't played any of those at all.
I think that peaked with totally worth it. I think the third game was kind of a drop off from the second game.
They weren't kind of boring.
I played through all of them.
Well, it wasn't just boring. It just didn't do anything different. It felt like I was just playing an extension of 2. So it did the job, but yeah, that one was like the least, memorable.
And to be fair, it's like my least favorite. You're talking about like South America, the jungle type area. I don't know. It's just not an area that really interests me as far as like learning the area, the lore. It's different than say you're in some weird part of like Russia.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I can agree with that for sure. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, well, flexible because every time you go to like South America, you're always funneled into this very specific type of like genre of storytelling.
Yeah.
It always ties its way back to like very specific. You have like one or two cultures. It's like the Mayans and like some other that rose up. It's like you got 2 cultures to deal with, and that's it in the jungle.
Yeah, that last one, it's not a bad game by any means. It just didn't do anything new.
It just didn't feel like
it felt like DLC or something. You know what I mean? Like it felt like it could have been.
Wasn't as long either. It definitely was much shorter.
Would you guys go for a remake of this series?
I don't think you need a remake of the because they after like the HD remaster that they put out on PS4 for the first 3 games. I think they're fine. I mean, it's the first game is you can see the mechanics or like the graphics are a little dated, but it's not that bad. It's not like unplayable. You can play it now.
Well, if they're remaking this, we need a remake of this. Oh, no,
You don't need it. I just say
know.
it'd be a waste. It's easily accessible and it's not that. It came out like it didn't come out long enough ago where the gameplay and the graphics are that bad.
I don't think so either. My favorite one's actually on the Vita. God, what is that game called? I forget which one that is, but that's actually my favorite Uncharted out of all of them. I still haven't played those PS5 versions yet, but
So working on the third game. So
that sounds like me, man. I've had that. I got that when it came out in like February, and I haven't even put it in yet. So
they're nice games. I wasn't like super invested in the Uncharted series.
me neither. I
didn't really play Uncharted at all. I tried like the first one for a little bit, but I didn't really like that gameplay style. It wasn't for me. I'm more of like that action. I want to be doing something the whole time.
It's got the same gameplay as.
To me, if I sit down and start watching it, if I watch a game more so than play the game, I'll just wind up passing out.
I don't know.
And there's like 6 games at this point. It's like that's a lot of games to play. It's a lot of time to invest in the series. Like fully catch up to what's going on.
That last one you can beat in like 4 hours or something crazy like that. I forget what is that called. I don't remember.
Yeah, most of the games are standard like 15, 20 hour games.
Lost Legacy, where Nathan Drake's not even in it. I believe. I don't even think he's in that one. Never played it, but that was one that I don't know. People were talking about a remake for that here recently. They were talking about some type of remake for it, a reboot or something in the works.
You could remaster it. I don't think it needs to be remade.
We already got a remaster. I think we're good. I mean, you can play all of them on the PS5.
Just do a new coat of paint. The gameplay's not bad. It doesn't need it. I think if they're going to do it, they're going to do it. I just think it's a waste. It doesn't need it.
Well, I think
Sean in the chat says that Uncharted is perfect the way it is. He said what people need is a port of Uncharted Golden Abyss.
That's the one I was talking about. That's my favorite one in the series, dude.
Spin-off games, they've like curse away the handhelds.
Bro, I don't care what Tony says about handhelds, dude. You're missing out, bro. That's all I'm saying. You're missing out.
Vita is a failed handheld.
Yeah, no. See, Vita was my favorite because I'm a PlayStation guy, and I thought Vita could have really used a lot more support, and it actually really could have been a contender in the handheld market if they would have just gave it more time and like put that effort into it. I mean, shit, you could get a Vita that had you could actually add cell phone service onto, so you could literally take it anywhere without having to be connected to Wi-Fi and just play the damn thing. Like that's cool as shit.
Yeah. I mean, the N-Gage did the same thing with that. It had the 3G at launch.
I think they were expecting a certain amount of like instant success, which they didn't get. They're just like they pulled the plug on it instantly.
That's very true.
They were just getting destroyed by Nintendo.
That handheld only stayed a lot. Like, believe it or not, the last Vita game just came out last year. So I mean, it's technically still been alive.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's still doing stuff for it.
Yeah,
but I think the issue with a lot of the Vita games with I think how Sony was, it's like, hey, let's just port older PlayStation games to the handheld when a handheld needs its own type of gameplay because it just doesn't have the graphical power, at least until recently.
It does have a lot of ports of PS3 games. That you can't deny that. But
they didn't make
it does have its exclusives that have still not been ported to anything. So I mean,
but they're few and far between.
Yeah,
at least when you look at who they're competing against, who's been doing it by that point for 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I don't think it helped that there's literally 12 Lego games on it. That's probably my only.
That's how you know it's not good.
Look at this, wild, dude. There's so many. Oh, I can't get it down there, but there's so many Lego games. It's ridiculous. But yeah, that's one that they definitely dropped the ball on that, and I don't think they'll ever.
Yeah, Sean agrees. He said Sony never cared about the Vita, and it's a shame.
Yeah, after that,
I did have one good game, and I don't know if it's only like a Vita thing, but it's the Sinraka Kagura, the Shinobi Versus. That is one of the Vita things that I actually got in the full box.
I almost got that recently. That's dope, dude.
I've had it and just sits in this box because it's actually one of the last games I bought that actually has like a thick like game booklet before they like completely died out.
I'm about to set you up a trade, Mark. I need that. These were the last two,
and it's in color too.
These are the last the last two that released last year. This one, and the thing that sucks about it is it got a lot of visual novels, and I'm unfortunately going for a full set. There's only two
Ooh, good luck.
systems I want to do that for. I
Good
do
luck
not
with
like
any
the.
JRPG.
Oh, dude,
It
there's
just
so many
gets like
visual novels on the game, dude. That is
because
not
they're
my kind of game.
so cheap to make.
Yeah, they're
You
so
can have
boring
like
too.
1,000 fans and just pump out games because there's like no investment
I
on the
like
studio side.
Danganronpa, but that's about it as far as the visual novel stuff.
Ooh, talk about a weird fan base.
A
The
little
fan
bit,
base is
yeah.
probably never gotten to bother to get that game. It's weird.
They brought it to Switch. The full, all 4 games are on Switch now. But
I'll
yeah.
never play them. Just being honest.
Well, I've only played through like 2 of them maybe, but yeah, I'm not the visual novel type. I do since we were talking about The Last of Us Part 1. Another thing, is there any other games that you guys can think of that you think deserve a full remake or maybe even a remaster that's not accessible?
The original Metroid Prime trilogy, because I'm gonna lose my mind if we get Metroid Prime 4 and none of the other games from none of the first 3 games.
There's no way they're not going to not bring those. They're not accessible on the Switch. They're
At this
better.
point, I have no idea. More time goes on, the more I'm not confident about it.
It's been like what 4 years since they announced Metroid Prime 4, and they've already had to restart it and with a whole new team.
We're pushing 4 years because I think it was January, February of 2019 when they said, "Hey, we're scrapping and restarting development." So, I mean, that game should be coming out, if not 2023, 2024. We should hear something next year for it because it's pushing 4 years since they've restarted development. But I mean, until it's like 6 months out of release, you're probably not going to hear anything from Nintendo about it.
And major.
No.
That's just how they do it. Until the game's ready to come out, they're not going to advertise
Yeah, they don't like that sneak peek shit, and they don't like to talk about it unless it's actually like.
And even when they do, it's like with Zelda, and it's like, hey, we're working on it, and then they just won't talk about it again.
Breath of the Wild 2,
Nothing.
they just
Then
showed
you get nothing until
it is
like,
a development, but we're not going to tell you anything until we're ready to release it.
They revealed the logo 4 years ago for 4, and then they teased like 10 seconds of a title screen for Breath of the Wild 2. Which, by the way, still doesn't have a name.
Right.
We don't know what the name is. Is it going to be Breath of the Wild 2? Probably not.
And like every other Zelda game, it's got development issues, so it's the original timetables always get pushed to the right. I mean, rather that than them release a bad or a broken game. So,
well, I think that it's very possible that they're working on it as a cross-gen game, just like they did with Breath of the Wild. I mean, that was Wii U and Switch.
Yeah, but that wasn't intended, and it just got delayed so long that it's like, well, at this point,
Twilight Princess.
They had to release that on the Switch also.
I think the issue is the games
have a choice at that point.
Yeah, the games get pushed so far, it just falls in between console releases. So now it's like, well, we can just use this to sell games. We'll just release it on both.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it a big hype that was going to be the last game that was released on the Wii U? It was supposed to be like a big hype thing about that, and then all of a sudden it's like you get the new fucking Dance Revolutions and shit coming out.
I mean, I guess because it was
Dance Party or whatever it is.
It was designed for the Wii U for most of its life. Just so happened that it probably got delayed to a point where it's like, well, we're within a year this new console's coming out, so we're just not going to release it, and you have to like work on the game to work on this as well.
That game was wholeheartedly designed around the aspect that you can get everything in your sack instantly on the screen. The cooking was clearly, with using that Wii U screen. People still say that's the better way to play it. I've never played it, but I watched some video footage on it. You can tell that
I mean, it was the same thing with what was it, the Zelda game between the GameCube and the Wii?
Twilight Princess.
It was the same thing, and they had to it was developed with the GameCube in mind, but because it was so close to the Wii, they had to swap it, and it's mirrored because of the handheld controls, because Link's left-handed, but most people are right-handed for the handheld.
That's a weird one because the Wii controls really well with a lot of the Nintendo games. My God, that one's abysmal to play on the Wii. I got it at launch
because it was clearly not. It was not designed from. No, it was clearly designed for a handheld controller game, not a motion control. That was clearly shoehorned in because they wanted to release it on the Wii.
Yeah. I feel like I do feel like that it still could be like a cross-gen game for Breath of the Wild 2. I don't know. I mean, it's possible.
I think it'll come out before the next iteration's even announced, unless they're just going to delay it for 6 years at this point.
Well, I mean,
Because
people are
you got to
talking
think
about.
Breath of the Wild came out at the launch, and you're probably pushing 4 or 5 years of development at this point. It's got to be getting close to being done, unless they're going to hold it for like another 2. I think it's another good 2 years away from the next console release, unless they're just having that many issues behind the scenes in development.
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
But
Possibility as well, though.
it's not built from the ground up like Breath of the Wild was. They're using the same assets. It's just making a new world,
Right.
making a new game. It's kind of
Yeah.
like so.
That's kind of what Sean's asking as well in the chat. He says, would people really react well to Breath of the Wild 2 if it's different? So like, are they going to use the same engine? Are they actually
Well, but we
developing
already know.
a
We already
different
know.
style for it?
oh
We
yeah,
already
they
know they're using the
confirmed
same
that.
engine. Yeah, that's same assets because it was going to save time in development.
So
That just makes sense.
essentially, if I could be wrong because I followed this one. Breath of the Wild is now my favorite game of all time, and I've been saying that since it launched. But
I would say it's my favorite. I thought the open world aspect, while it was a nice homage to the original game, and there's a lot to do in it, it really hampered the storytelling that the game could do with how the game was designed. Which I think the one thing that suffered in that game was the storytelling.
yeah,
Right.
the weird
Because
thing
it still had good
doing
dungeons and everything like that. Like that was
Yeah.
something I really liked. All the different dungeons and the different ways to get through them and all that was kind of neat.
Wait, on Breath of the
That
Wild?
they kept that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's my problem with it, is they did away with the dungeons. They had the stupid shrines.
They kind of had to with the way the game was designed.
That was my only issue, is that it did not have traditional dungeons. It had
I don't
120
know.
shrines.
You can look at the shrine as a dungeon, but it was more of like a puzzle versus like an actual
was, yeah.
dungeon, I guess.
I mean, there's a better way you can do open world storytelling because it's been done before, but they would definitely have to tweak their approach to that game if they're going to make it more story focused. The second one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with that, if I'm understanding what little they've said about the game, right now they're essentially just you're still getting the world that you had in Breath of the Wild, but you're basically getting another layer with all the sky stuff that they're doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
My only
essentially all
concern
we
is how
know.
is it still going to impact the story? Are they going to like be able to like tell what other open world games have done with their storytelling? Be able to kind of go anywhere from the get go. Can you still go to the final boss from the get go? Is there going to be anything with story that's like gating you or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that does bring up a good point. I don't know. We know so little about the game. Who knows?
I wonder if the story's going to go somewhere else, or if they're going to try to retell the same story again.
I mean, like every
so many
other
games have done that shit.
they all tell the same story
Yeah,
essentially.
They're essentially.
Yep.
They're essentially. I mean, I'm a big Zelda fan, but they're essentially all the same thing as far as the minimal story you get in the game.
I think it's just as far as like the story goes. I think it's a continuation of the first game. A lot of like the fan speculation because it's the weird thing between like was it Primal, Ganon? Like it wasn't like the Ganon you're used to. So you're thinking maybe there's like a weird. I'm pretty sure it's going to tie into the same story. It's just the overall story is going to continue because obviously Ganon's always your bad guy because that's kind of what.
Well, I think
Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword pretty much solidified the storytelling of it's just always the same concept throughout all of history.
It's your Mario Bowser. It's your classic Mario Bowser.
It's your Link, Zelda, Ganon. That's kind of for all the games in some way or another.
I've clearly never played a Mario and Luigi game. Anyway, yeah,
those are a lot. There's no story to those. It's just platforming.
Mario and Luigi.
Outside of like
they're RPGs,
handful of games. Which one?
All the Mario and Luigi games. Hold on, let's see. These games,
like the
because I don't know what games you're talking about.
The DS games. Yeah.
Oh, games that have like
Paper Jam.
A handful of games.
I've never Superstar Saga.
Never gonna play
Superstar Saga.
Yes, that was the first one.
I was thinking like the Mario RPG or like Paper Mario.
RPGs.
Those remind me more of like the old school like Mario RPG. Exactly, they remind me more of like the old school
like Super Mario RPG or the Paper Mario.
That's essentially what they are, though. I mean,
yeah, that game's stuck on a DS. It's not a mainline game.
Hey, that's all right.
Most people don't play handheld; they play the console games.
I hate consoles. I don't play consoles.
Oh, hot take.
But yeah, I don't know. As far as the Breath of the Wild stuff, that was something I was thinking about. I think
it'll be a good game.
I don't see it being bad.
I just want more story in the game. That's my only complaint.
I mean, does Nintendo ever give us more story in any of their games, though?
Zelda games have always been like story driven because it's like very linear, very story driven games.
When I was a kid, all the Zelda games I played, you had to read the manual or you got no story. I mean,
completely agree with that. So
like the first two Zelda games,
there was zero story in the original Zelda. It basically, here's the world, figure this shit out, and literally, like he said, you had to read the manual or you had to go find some damn Nintendo Power magazines to figure out. Like,
that's a
what the hell's going on.
Had no story like on the.
It's like a 30-year-old game at this point. Let's be real. Like the past like 10 games have been story driven.
I don't know. Tetris has more story than the first.
All I can say is it wasn't like it's not like playing like Skyward Sword where it's like super linear, super handholdy. Like let me do something. Like that was a breath of fresh air for Zelda games. It wasn't gonna like here. Let me walk you through the first 10 hours of the game.
Well, I think
that's kind of where they really threw me with that bullshit, with that whole like 2-hour tutorial shit. It's like, dude, I don't need this. Yeah. I don't need this.
Oh my god. You know what? This might be a hot take. I see a lot of other people saying it, but that's Skyward Sword remaster, dude. The HD version. Man, I just couldn't get through that. I got maybe 3 hours.
People could get through the original. What are you talking about? I'm gonna play it.
Well, my
just
hot take is that I think the Wii version is more playable than the Switch version. And
yeah, but even when it came out, it was a very not well received game. It was very controversial with a lot of the stuff.
I liked it when it came out, but I was also, it was a long
I think
time
it's less the story, more people hated the gameplay of it, the forced motion, the continued motion controls, the weird hand-holdy. Like I see most people kind of in agreement with that game, where it's not their best favorite game as far as gameplay goes.
It's definitely not even in the top 10 for Zelda games for me, but I enjoyed it when it came out, and Wii motion controls work way better than the gyro controls on Switch. That's evident.
To be fair, like the first Zelda game I really actually played was Breath of the Wild. I mean the old one on 64. Can't think of it now.
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. I never actually played it. I got it on the 3DS, and I never I got past like the first area with the Deku Tree.
That's a good way to play it. That's the best way to play it, though. That's an excellent way to play that game.
It's just not aged well. It's a hard game to play if you didn't play it as a kid.
I think that the 3D version, I think is excellent.
I struggled in the Deku Tree. Let's be real.
Oh Jesus, Mark. Yeah. Well, I can't help you with that, man.
It's got old gameplay mechanics, which either really well because you played as a kid, or you're like, this is really clunky because it's just an old game, which is
that's the game I beat more than any game that I've ever played in my life. I used to do it every year, play it.
I'm surprised they've never done a full-on remake of that game for like modern day, like from the ground up.
Man,
you can't tell me
the new Unreal Engine, dude. They do a demo of that with Ocarina of Time assets. Oh my god, that could be so beautiful.
It would sell.
Oh, it would,
I don't care.
Absolutely,
it would definitely sell because it's still considered one of the best games or the best Zelda.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, everybody said it was the best game, and it was my favorite until Breath of the Wild came out. I just think that game did everything right, and I like open world games. So.
Came out at the right time. The first open world game just done really well.
Yeah, that's everybody wants to be Breath of the Wild now. So
because it came out, there was another like what was the SNES game? It was like not a Link Between Worlds. That's something.
To the Past.
A Link to the Past was the game that came out before it, which was another well-received game. It was like the peak of like 2D Zelda.
That came out before it?
Yeah, didn't that come out on the SNES?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was nothing before it though. On the Super Nintendo.
Not on that. I mean, there were there's like 2 other games before it, but there's like you're getting like really old.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, A Link to the Past, people still argue that that's better than Ocarina of Time. So.
Well, because I mean, as far as like 2D goes, before they transitioned to 3D, it was like a peak 2D that you could do as Zelda by that point between gameplay and storytelling. And I think it's still a old game.
It just looked good. It looked good,
great.
And it was just like it was
really good sprites,
full blown like great game, like all around. Link to the Past was just a great game. Anybody could pick it up and play it and just learn as you go with it. You didn't have to know anything else before it. Like it was just good to play.
I played it, never beaten it, but I've definitely played it. It was definitely the hour or two I've played on it so far. Definitely enjoyable. It's not too hard to figure out what you're doing.
That was my first virtual console game I got on the Wii. I remember I was so excited to be able to play it again.
I don't even have my Wii anymore, so I have no idea.
Yeah, well, you're also lame, so.
That's why I bought a Wii U that I never used. Was because I wanted to play a way to play like my 3 Wii games, which is really weird.
Wii games, so.
I've got the 2 Metroid games that are on the Wii, and then a Call of Duty on the Wii. It's a weird 3 game collection.
Those Call of Duty games on the Wii, bro.
That's how I first played Black Ops. Was on the Wii.
Me too.
Like
That
I
was
played
fun.
multiplayer with the control. It was weird. It was
Yeah.
interesting.
It was fun, dude. I love it.
And then
So I'll tell
arguably,
you what's really weird though. You guys got to get the damn Quest 2 and play some of those army games, like in 3D with those controllers, and you're shooting people. Like that takes the Wii to a whole new experience when you're actually in the actual game with that
I mean,
thing.
it sounds fun.
Because you can literally just set your play area up in your living room and walk around your whole
I think the
living,
Wii
space.
came out like a decade too early. It would have been perfect to go with like VR, with like a VR headset.
Oh yeah, exactly. With the way the hand controls and stuff were with it, yeah.
Definitely ahead of its time.
Man,
I feel like Quest probably took a lot of stuff from that and used it, like implemented a lot of the control wise into their stuff.
Surprise me if they did.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I want to. There's one that my buddy's playing all the time on Quest 2. I forget what it is. He says it's essentially a Call of Duty clone.
Population 1.
I don't even remember, to be honest with you. I was trying to look it up.
That's what it is. Yeah, look up Population 1. It's freaking awesome. It's basically like a PUBG / Call of Duty.
Oh, I'm getting Oculus Quest too. What the fuck?
Yeah,
it's it may be called MetaQuest now. They've changed the name of the whole thing. You had to set up a Meta account to use it.
That looks terrible. Those graphics look like they're from the PS3.
That's like everything in like
I know, that's my problem
VR.
with VR. That's what's one of my problems with it.
It looks worse than
Bruh,
VR chat. Like, let's be real.
You're in it, but you're in it. You're not like playing it. You're in it.
I know, but I don't know if it can keep my attention.
No,
that's
look,
what it looks like.
I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a big difference between watching something in VR on a flat screen and then actually playing it and getting your eyes onto it. Because like when you're in that headset, it's a lot different. It's
that's
a lot.
Why I tell people about Virtual Boy, bro. I tell everybody that about Virtual Boy.
You can still tell like that's bad graphics even in VR. Like, let's be real. Like other VR games have done it better.
I mean, that's true. That's definitely true. And I think, I think Pop 1 was like a free game when it first came out, and they've just kind of been riding that, like, getting money when they can, and now it's actually like you have to pay for the damn thing.
I just know when Meta VR was like first advertised, like, this looks terrible. Like, there's VR games that are out now that look 20 times better. I don't know. It's like you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. This is the best you can do.
Well, I've actually found there's better games that you can download off of like It's called SideQuest. It's like just an app you can download onto your headset or from your phone or whatever. But there's so many more games and publishers on SideQuest than actually like in the Quest store. So you can get a lot better games. It's almost like a Steam for VR, but it's just called Sideload, and you get all kind of stuff for it. And now you're going to run into a lot of those games that are just trash. You get a lot of those just $5, what the fuck am I playing? Why am I doing this kind of game? But you do get some really good stuff on there as well.
I mean, to be fair, look at the Switch eShop, dude. We're talking about some bad games and shovelware. Oh,
yeah.
Dude, 90%.
I mean, you get that exact same thing in VR for sure.
Yeah, I just listened to Mark Zuckerberg on Joe Rogan. I think it was last week or something. He's talking about some of the plans that they have and talking about like the Meta Quest 3 and all that stuff. I think that's going to come out relatively soon, so I think it's probably better just to hold off on getting one until that launches, because there's a lot of stuff.
Out of principle, I'm not going to buy one. I'm just going to be honest right up front, because it's Facebook. It's Mark Zuckerberg. He's a reptile lizard man.
It's not Facebook anymore. It's Meta.
It's Meta, bro.
It's Meta.
It's the same company. I don't like them. I'm not going to.
So actually, I'm kind of happy that I got into the Quest when I got mine, because mine is actually the Quest 2 box, and now they've even changed the boxes to where they have a Meta logo on it, and it's not even a Quest 2 anymore. They literally call them the Meta Quest.
Did you see that they increased the prices, 2 of them? They increased the prices.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
Is it like Meta or is it Oculus? That's what I pulled up.
No, it's Meta. It's Meta. It's Meta Quest. It used to be Oculus Quest.
That's
my
weird.
box is the Oculus
I Google Meta Quest, and the first thing that pops up is like, other than like top news, it's like Oculus Quest off to the right.
Yeah.
Released.
I don't know why
it used to be Oculus, and now they changed to the Meta.
They're trying to brand.
And they made I had to. When I first got my Oculus, I just had to use my Facebook account. So I would log in with my Facebook account and then be able to play the games and stuff that way. Then I log on the other day and I actually had to create a new Meta account and like make a whole new thing, which I just linked with my Facebook account. So it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't understand this. Like, it's a whole new account, but apparently people were getting locked out of their Quest if you got banned on Facebook and you owned a Quest, you could no
Yes.
longer play your Quest
That
games
was
because
a
you
huge-
had to go through your
that's
Facebook
That was a
account.
huge controversy about it, is that you had to have a
Mhm.
Facebook account when Oculus Quest 2 came out.
You talk about
You had to have
I am
Facebook.
so if it wasn't for like being able to talk to like a handful of people that I still talk to via Facebook or like Messenger, I would have deleted my Facebook like 2 years ago. I don't
Right.
I don't know, maybe that's a
Yeah.
hot take. I don't like social media that much. I've grown to not like it. I think it's a net negative on a lot of things.
Yeah, I generally feel the same way, but like everything that I do involves social
Then
media,
Brandon
and it's like,
complains about like half of my Facebook at this point.
hey, I had to give you a hard time today. He loves his politics.
Yeah. I'm kind of with Brandon on Facebook though. Like really, I use it for like streaming. I use it for
I
like
use it for
promotion for our
memes.
gaming events and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really connect with a lot of people that I know. I mean, shit, most of the people that I really care to talk to live around me or live with me. So it's
yeah.
like I don't need to
See,
connect
it's
through it.
a hard one. It's a hard one because
I think you're the only one that I've gone to high school with that's still like a Facebook friend from high school. I've like unfriended everybody else because I never talked to them.
I did that. I did that at one point. I don't know. I have some of them on there, but not a lot.
I think most of them still live in the area and I'm never moving back.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has a lot of net negatives to it, and I agree with that. Just everything that I'm involved in almost requires social media at this point. That it's just like it's not.
At present,
know.
I just don't use them.
If it wasn't the case, I probably would get off social media, or at least Facebook for sure. I mean,
I just wish there wasn't so many different fucking social media
groups.
outlets. Like, why
If there
does
wasn't
there have to be
groups-
so many different ones? And yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So many groups on each individual one. So it's like you got Discord, but Discord isn't really a Discord. Discord is like each individual little server that you have to be invited to, and then if it's not an active one, what the hell's the point of even being in it? Kind of like
Right. Yeah.
And then if it is active, literally my phone all day is bling 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 bling. So it's like, what?
Oh,
Okay,
I
just
mute
mute.
like every group I'm in. I
Mhm.
immediately mute it because like I don't care for the notifications.
Oh man,
I'll hop.
all those big ones, I have to, dude. I have to. Yeah, those get insane.
I have like 10 notifications like an hour. I'm like, I don't need these.
Yeah,
like,
that's
pop-up.
aggravating.
And I'm a weird person.
Right.
I hate notifications just sitting on my phone. It bugs me. I have to like clear them like immediately.
Clear. They just gotta be
Yeah.
cleared.
It's a weird OCD thing.
Yeah, I have that same problem. I don't like it just sitting on my
I guess
screen.
Sean in the chat, he's the same way. He said he wouldn't use social media if he didn't have to. He grew up long before it existed. And same, I'm almost 40 myself, and when I was a kid, social media was walking outside going, hey man, you want to come out and play today? We'd go down to the river and shit like that. So we didn't have social media to sit on and really talk to our friends. It was pick
Just
up
knock
the
on the
phone,
door.
They wanted to come over.
Their parents
Exactly.
like half naked, like, is so and so here? I don't want to see your naked chest.
Oh,
Can
Jesus,
Billy
dude.
come out and play today?
Dad just opens the door in his underwear. I'm like, that is disgusting. I think he does it on purpose.
Yeah.
Gross out my friends. What are you trying to say, Brandon?
I don't even remember. Something about. Yeah, I mean, we did the same thing as far as going outside. We rode our bikes, had a little bike gang, man. We met up at the park all the time. Tried to start little businesses.
Get outside for 8 hours, go home, turn on the computer. Get off the computer, get off the game. Like, I was outside for like 8 hours. Like, what are you yelling at?
Yep.
Come on.
Now I want to play the game. I'm inside now. It was the street lights. That was the curfew. It was always the street lights.
Yeah.
Street lights come on. Have
By
your
the
ass
time
in
it's
the house.
dark, you at least have to be like in front of the house or on the street or something.
Yeah, things have really, really changed in that aspect now. I think 90% of parents wouldn't allow that now. I guess it just depends on your area, right?
Yeah, I think
If you're in
That's true.
New York
if you live in a
City,
city, yeah,
probably
it's
not
terrible.
going to do that. Yeah.
If you're rural, you got a lot more freedom.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I can honestly say that I would not let my kids do the same shit I did when I was a kid.
Yeah,
That's why you gotta have two kids.
Stay your ass in
They
the
used
house.
to. It's like,
I'd
hey,
be worried
when you get
the whole time,
kidnapped,
dude.
it's survival of the fittest. It's on you. You made a dumb decision.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Though that's how it was.
When we would,
So it was.
we would be out before the time of cell phones and stuff, so I didn't have any way to call my parents and let them know,
Exactly,
hey,
yeah.
I think I was like a junior.
Brian broke his leg down here at the
That's when I
bridge.
got
We don't
mine.
have a way to get back up there. We'd have to send somebody walking up the road to go
I like
get
paid
the
for my
parents.
own like prepaid cell phone.
Yeah, I
My
got
bad-
one my junior year of high school. Yeah.
I want to
That's
say my
crazy.
first phone, I was driving, so I was definitely at least 16 or 17, but it was like a Motorola brick. I mean, the damn thing was
Probably still works.
I don't even have anything that
Nokia.
size nowadays, but it was like triple the size of anything like this, and it was like fat, like it was huge, just massive fucking brick phone.
You can murder people with it and still use it as a phone. It wouldn't
my
be
grandma.
no difference.
Yeah, it was like one of those embarrassing phones. Like, I'm
indestructible.
not showing my friends that I have this. I just, if I have to make a call, I'll turn it on and call you, Mom.
I remember the old like, what is it
My
like the
grandma-
Motorola's? worked
Yeah,
like
the
walkie-talkie.
Nokias.
I hated those so much.
Dude, my grandma had a phone in her car. Like a car phone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, dude.
Like one of those you pick up and it still had the cord attached.
Yeah, like a house phone in your
Nice.
car. Yeah, that was
Nice.
wild.
I remember my dad used to have like one of the car phone almost, like a weird, like super old, like 90s car phone thing.
Yeah, that's what she had.
It's like a
She had
brick,
it
like
forever
plug it in.
too. She had service for it and
Plug it into the
till like
cigarette lighter.
2000.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you could still get service for those for a long time. Shit was crazy.
That's awesome.
Built to last, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Great.
But
speaking of that, Nintendo cartridges, baby, you can't kill them.
Oh no, you can't. Oh, you can't, man. You could if it's not
I bet
working, I bet you
I
can
could
fix
shove
it.
it to the wall and it'd still work.
Oh, I'm sure.
For sure.
64
You could literally take the
cartridges.
cart out and just stick it down in a fucking in a 64 and it would work just fine.
You know how people complain about like the boxes being weird? I'm like, I remember like the games used to be like the same cartridge, just a whole different color.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody ever
Donkey
about
Kong
it.
64 cart.
Like that's how you know you're a good gamer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got a couple different colors. Hold on.
Because I think that's the weird thing. You ever play like any of these battle tanks games?
Yeah, I have that one. Yeah.
I remember.
It's not very good.
Between me and my brother, used to have like you have to write down the code for each level because to get to a level. So
those are awesome.
You have like all the levels written down, all the cheat codes and whatnot.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I just the last level of the game. I want to play nothing.
Man, that was World of Tanks before it was World of Tanks.
That was such
the
oh
007
yeah.
World's Not Enough, the blue cart, and you got the Pro Skater blue cart.
Killer Instinct is the black cart, right?
My Golden Eye is special. It's just got Pierce Brosnan on the front of it.
You got the Donkey Kong, and you got the Green Army Heroes.
Yeah, yep, I had that too.
I bought and used games, and like the game works, but the cartridge is destroyed. Like my Bomberman 64 cartridge that I bought used for like $5 is destroyed. It's got some weird plastic on the front. It's beat to hell, but the game works fantastic.
You might as well throw that away. It's got a sticker on the front of it.
Yo, the game plays. That I probably could. You can get 64 games really cheap, but like the Second Attack, which I think is a better game, like $200. I'm like,
oh yeah, loose too. That's a loose.
I got all these
crazy.
64 games right here.
Eventually, I'm gonna
64, but I just got a tub of games.
Oh, nice.
I don't have that many games. I got like 5 or 6 games for it. I got a few more.
I sold just about all of them off this year because I'm going to grab the EverDrive.
But I've only ever had like 6 or 8, and it played the shit out of those 6 or 8 games. So I knew like every game from the back.
Yeah, I think actually, you know what? I think the only one I have right now just to test systems is Mario Golf. That's the only physical 64 game I have now. I had
and that game is horrible on 64. It's so bad.
I had like 50 up until last year, and I started selling them off. And I'm like, I'm just grabbing EverDrive. Sell like 4 of these, and I can grab an EverDrive, which I still.
This might be a hot take. I'm pretty sure Mario Golf on the Switch is not much better than it is on the 64.
I like it. I think it's fun as shit. It doesn't have a lot. It didn't have a lot of content at launch, just like all the other ones. But
it's like bare bones.
It's a solid game. Yeah, it's very bare bones. It isn't now.
They got a lot of DLC. Like they did with the tennis. Like I'm pretty sure they're announcing more downloadable content for the tennis game. Correct? Like it's not.
Yeah, but
it's still an unfinished game.
That's my favorite Mario Sports. Are all the tennis games? Actually, I don't even watch tennis or nothing.
It was baseball and then soccer.
Yeah, Sluggers was fun.
That's like the only two. Like I want them to release another baseball game.
That's a long overdue, I think.
And a basketball.
I mean, just in general, like the only baseball games you get now are the actual like Major League Baseball games. You don't have any of those like fun, quirky
let's get Mario football going.
Hey, what was the one? There was a sports one that was on
the backyard baseball is still a thing.
Like a whole. Dude, those were so fun.
Those were good games.
I had a bunch of those on PC.
We were playing those in like school at one point. I don't think it was. Or it was like an older school, a different school before I went to Logan Elm. But yeah, those are fun games.
I do got to bring this up before we end the podcast. I want to say I'm not a big wrestling guy anymore, but have you guys seen about that WrestleQuest game?
I've not seen WrestleQuest.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys played Golf Story, but it's like essentially a RPG and golf game mixed together. And I do believe this is by the same people, but it's an RPG wrestling game in a 16-bit style. And it has like, I think...
Really?
Roddy Piper. It's called WrestleQuest. And I
have to look into that.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Because me and my buddy was actually watching the AWE wrestling game the other day, and it just looked like,
I saw that.
or
yesterday.
AEW, excuse me, the AEW wrestling game, and
Yeah, right?
it looked kind of cartoony.
Yeah, it's
I
it's
see
an
it
also
RPG
quick.
wrestling game, dude.
I see
And,
the
like-
inspiration from Randy Savage right there. It's like their
Yes,
main.
dude. Dude, this game looks so cool. I don't give a shit about wrestling anymore, but I will play this game.
It's one of those old like
Same with
2D
Golf Story.
pixelated games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gave a shit about wrestling games since like I guess
Oh yeah. It says
shit,
pro
original
wrestling,
Xbox.
RPG fantasy collide in the ultimate pixel-powered adventure, starring Macho Man Randy Savage and tons of other. Dude, that's just so cool. That Golf Story, I hate golf, dude, but that game is so fun. It's reminiscent of the Mario Golf games that were on like Game Boy Color and stuff. That were RPGs and a sports game. Like that's everything I love.
Might have to give that a shot.
Oh yeah.
Little combo there.
Yeah,
it looks
sure.
like the it looks like Stardew Valley just with a golf instead.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really cool. But they have been releasing more stuff about that. I actually know somebody that's working on the game, and he's somebody that I had in our notes to bring on the podcast. So maybe we can do some more deep diving into that here soon. But
Sweet.
that looks like a really cool one. I've been keeping an eye out on some of these indie ones just because a lot of these games are the more style of games that I enjoy playing right now because a lot of them are easier to jump in and jump out of because that's pretty much how my life is at this point.
Like long games.
Yeah.
Require, like,
Kind of need something quick to get in.
Yeah. That's a lot of what I play now. Right now, anyway, is indie stuff. Things you can jump in and out of. Like what was on? I've been playing Hollow Knight. It's been a pretty fun one. You can kind of jump in and out of that. You could do that with Metroid Dread. I could play it for 45 minutes, stop where I'm at, and then just pick it up again. And I know I'm not gonna like have
That's
to
how
worry
most
about.
2D Metroids were. Like they had stations front and part. You could pretty much do an hour, get one area knocked out, and just like.
And that's how I did it too. And I still haven't beat that game. I'm stuck on the final boss. I can't. Dude,
I'm gonna start eventually,
hard.
but
you know what made me mad?
I don't
be as
really dig
hard.
my PS5 though, because you can totally do that with your PS5. You know, you can just be into something and literally just put it in rest mode and go on and come back, kick it back on. You're literally right where you just left off.
But my issue with that is, for some reason, every time I like to turn back my PS5 on, it restarted. It does it every time.
Mm.
It just restarts the system. Like, cause I maybe turn that thing on once a week if I'm lucky. Same with Series X. I don't get the game that much right now, but yeah, every time I go back, it restarted, and that's aggravating.
Did you ever play, as far as like with the Dread, you ever play Metroid Fusion all the way through?
Yes, I did. It gets hard.
Do you think that was, that definitely had hard parts like near the end? I thought the final boss wasn't the hardest part of it.
No, I don't think so either. And I beat that when it was out, so it's been a while.
I think it was a weird game. One area, it's like the mixture with that spider looking thing that comes down where it's really, learn the pattern because there's no save station before, like right out, and then right after.
That's what they do here with Dread.
You run to like the SAX, which is a chasing that's really hard because you pretty much have to run from it like perfectly through this area.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes you like 20 times because you gotta learn everything.
Without any spoilers, at the end of Dread, I won't say anything about like the final boss. Essentially, there's stages to the boss, like there always is. And once you get to the second stage, you can't get hit at all. It's pretty much insta kill, and that's what they do. So you have to follow the patterns, which I can't get down because for me, every playthrough they've changed. You have to know what's coming for everything because you can't get hit at all. And what sucks is that now they've added an easy mode and DLC for it, which I haven't played it since they put the DLC out. But there's now an easy mode. I'm like,
it's actually called reporter mode.
Or whatever, Mark. It's an easy mode. But
easy modes can actually play through it and tell you how the game is.
I think they have like a harder mode too. I could be wrong, but I think
you don't make the game. You have your normal game mode and you have a harder game mode. You don't make the game easier.
No, there's an easy mode. I swear to God, there's an easy
mode. It's the purpose of the game.
I don't know, man. I need it. I need to go back. Oh, bro, I promise you.
Harass you forever.
That game pissed me off so bad.
So he said the final boss was definitely easier than he thought it would be.
Oh, you guys
kind of sounds like a Zelda game to me.
Maybe it's just you having a struggle.
I'm not good at games. I've never said that.
Maybe he plays Souls games, so he's used to like really difficult bosses.
I don't play Soul games. Yeah, I can't do that.
I tried playing Dark Souls 1, an hour in, I got
Bro,
lost. I didn't know where I didn't know where I was going.
This was my first one, and this, I guess, apparently is a horrible one to start with. This is the first Souls game I've ever, actually bought, as a new game.
It's not bad. The PS5 version is actually really good. It's beautiful as shit, but it is brutal as hell, man.
That's
brutal.
I can never get into them. I'm like, I start raging after a while.
I do want to play Elden Ring though.
Now Elden Ring makes me feel like I'm actually decent at the game. I know it's a Soulsborne kind of game, but it still makes me feel like I'm decent at it without kicking my ass.
And that's what
I don't know. I don't know if we brought it up last time or whatever, but I know we were talking about a game because I didn't realize the same studio that made the Souls games. What is it called? Actually made the two Lost Kingdom games. I don't know if we talked about that before.
We talked about that post show. We talked about that after the show. Yeah,
because I looked into it. I don't know. It's the same studio made those games, and it actually you can kind of if you ever played the Lost Kingdom games, you can kind of see the old.
It's slipping my mind for some reason. What I can't remember what their studio name is.
I just thought it was weird and interesting. How did the same studio made a bunch of games the 90s to the early 2000s, very different genres.
Those are entirely different games for sure. Yeah, those are ones I've always had an issue with. I played 2 and 3, but they weren't ones I bought at launch or anything. I got them cheap, threw them in, couldn't get anywhere, and I quit every time. And then this
one, they're not good games for me to play.
Couldn't you co-op the older? Didn't the older games? I don't know if the newer games do co-op for the Souls games. Or am I thinking of a different game series?
You could co-op and you can invade other players, so you could really go in and fuck with people, and that's what
the invasion one.
Oh yeah, where you guys the ghost or whatever stupid shit you do, or yeah, you don't
Isn't there isn't that one of the players from the most recent Souls game? What's it called again?
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
The characters, one of the players became really famous for just helping people. They wore a really unique get up.
I haven't even played it.
Yep. I think the developers.
And there was also a guy that killed a boss so many times that the developers actually sent him a package. That came with, I believe, it was a samurai sword and a sash and all kind of nice little trinkets and shit. Because he just beat the boss so many times.
Yeah. This game was not made for me.
They're brutal if you don't have patience.
And I don't. I'm there's too many games to play. I can't replay the same thing.
You should definitely try Elden Ring though, because it is a lot different than the actual Dark and Demon Souls games. Plus, it's a lot more you can actually build a character however you really want to build that character, whether it be a magic or melee, a mixture of both. I mean, it's really really in depth character build wise, and that's what I kind of really got into was doing that.
That was one I almost got at launch, but I was just I convinced myself just to wait for a price drop. When I find a deal, I'll pick it up. But I do want to play that for sure.
It's definitely worth it for the price drop. I mean, even at launch, it's still worth the $60. It's just a good flushed out game, and it's fucking huge, and you can't beat it. You can't beat it quick.
The Elden Ring player, it's Let Me Solo Her. That's the dude that's well known in the game.
Nice.
Just bugging me. I couldn't remember what his name was.
He beats that boss naked with a club. He's done it so many times. He just no hit fucking runs.
That's insane.
You probably do it blindfold at this point.
Man, that's when I was watching somebody do a Metroid Dread speedrun. This dude's nuts. Doesn't get hit one time. Oh, that's what the mode is. It's a hard mode where it's a one-shot kill for the whole game. So anytime that you get hit at all, you instantly die. I can't even imagine trying to do that. I couldn't.
It's kind of like playing the Pokemon games where you do the Nuzlocke.
Yeah.
You have to make those games hard because by default they're extremely easy games.
And then you do that with Kirby.
I
don't know how you make that game harder. Self-inflicted rules make that game harder.
I don't know, man. Those games are too easy.
They're designed that way, though. It's supposed to be easy.
They are. I still got to beat the new one that came out. It's my last
I really enjoy that game. Kirby though. I think Kirby could have definitely had its own I mean, I know it's got its own thing going, but it could have been a really big mascot. I feel more so than it was.
I just think it got beat out by between Pokemon and Mario. Just beat Kirby out early on.
It's almost too much of a Pokemon to be its own thing.
Yeah,
it could be a Pokemon.
Kirby could pass for a Pokemon, for sure.
Kirby.
Like an evolution. It could be an evolution of fucking Jigglypuff or some shit.
Oh god.
Kirby.
Well, essentially the same thing.
He's got like one
Basically.
move, and it's just like to eat his opponents, absorb their
Pretty much.
And
power.
become them.
That's what the whole new game that just there's a new like eShop exclusive that came out. So like something buffet. It's all about eating. It's like a party game or something. Did you
Nice.
guys have anything else you guys wanted to bring up before we end the podcast, or anything you can think of? I didn't have actual notes, so we just kind of winged this one.
Oh man, I like this freeform chat. Just see where it goes.
It's fun.
We don't
I
need no
like
notes.
One thing flows into
We
the other. I
don't
don't
need
know
no
where we
stinking
started.
notes.
Well,
We did on Elden Ring.
until I'm trying to find
We
something to
started
talk
with
about.
Hogwarts.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's been fun though. I think we did fine tonight. I don't know if there's anything else big that I can think of. I don't do good on the spot, so I'm sure I'll think of something as soon as we end. But did you guys have anything you wanted to say?
Right as we hit the end button.
Guacamole. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, been fun tonight. Appreciate everybody that's been watching, all the commenters and everything. For a video version, be sure to leave us a like and subscribe and all that stuff that they say, whatever it is. And we'll be back
Thumbs up
next
on the
week.
video.
Don't forget to
Thumbs up on the
like,
video.
comment, and subscribe.
Oh yeah, there we go, Mark. All right, guys.
I got you.
All right, everybody have a good night. Appreciate everybody that's been watching, and we will be back again next week. Later, guys.